We are wrapping up the month of May, getting ready to jump in the month of June. But before we do, we must mention May is National Hearing and Speech Month. A squad extra excited, as a matter of fact, about that is the crew at HearSay Services of Delaware. Dr. Pamela Patterson Robinson started the practice in Milford way back in 2007.
Oh yeah, and since then she's helped countless individuals in getting the resources they need to have better hearing and thus better lives. DelmarvaLife's Katie Zerilli introduces us to Dr. Robinson and a woman named Victoria Brown whose life has recently been changed due to having high quality hearing aids.
For Victoria Brown, suffering from hearing loss came about because of circumstances.
I started at 16 working in a factory, trying to get nice shoes, going to school. During that time, I didn't know that you're supposed to plug them things in your ears when you're working in a factory.
Thus, during that time, damage was done, not only to her ears, but her life as a whole.
It's hard. You just try to work through things like relationships and everything, and so I would stay away from that.
Not anymore, though. Victoria eventually found Dr. Pamela Patterson Robinson and HearSay Services of Delaware. And now that she's got top-of-the-line hearing aids, well, she's on top of the world.
She asked me, and my daughter was like, "Mom, can you hear?" And I said, "I can hear everything you're saying, even to her breathing." And that was the coolest thing.
Perhaps even cooler, they came at no cost. That's because HearSay partnered with GN Resound to provide for a patient in need this month. Dr. Robinson knew without question who that would be.
I've known her since 2017, and she's never had premium hearing aids, and these are premium hearing aids. She is tickled pink. She's never heard as well as she's hearing now.
And as you might imagine, for Dr. Robinson, that's what it's all about.
It's so good to see someone hear well for the first time. I was told when I was in college, don't ever get emotional with a patient. That's easier said than done.
She's experienced all kinds of emotions since she opened HearSay Services of Delaware in 2007.
The main service we provide hearing testing to find out if you have a hearing loss, what type of hearing loss and how severe is it? And also, is it a permanent hearing loss or is it a temporary hearing loss? Most times we end up sending the report to an ENT physician, and he or she can determine whether or not they can remedy this hearing loss.
HearSay Services of Delaware is also a resource for fitting hearing aids. Those, Dr. Robinson says, are quite customized to the patient.
From the patient's needs, we can determine the level of technology that they should have. Of course, the top of the line is the best, but sometimes the affordability and what the insurance covers can help you determine whether or not they can actually get the top of the line hearing aid versus the lower technology. They're all good, even though they're lower technology, but you're going to hear better with the top of the line premium technology.
The lifespan of those hearing aids is typically about 5 to 6 years, according to Dr. Robinson. She's fascinated by the developing technology and says some of the newer versions allow folks to adjust volume and clarity with their phones.
I've had a gentleman who came into my office call it the wife mode. I said, "What does that mean?" He said, "I'm turning my wife off."
Here at HearSay, they can test as early as infancy. Dr. Robinson says denial can often be a roadblock.
If you've been doing this as long as I have, the person will say, "Yeah, this just happened about 2 months ago," and after I do the assessment, I'll put my elbows down on my knees, and I'll say, "You're not kidding me. You've had this hearing loss for about 10, 15 years," and maybe the spouse is in the back saying, I said, you can't fool Dr. Robinson.
And not addressing the situation means it's going to snowball, she says.
And they look at it, I'll be okay. No, you're not. You're not okay, because hearing loss is a comorbidity with a lot of other things. Hearing loss affects your balance. It affects your cognition. It affects a lot of things. It affects your vision. It affects your overall health, your well-being.
And that well-being is what this doctor cares about at the core. That's why she's relentless.
The first thing she said, Victoria, we're going to help you. And so that felt good. And I would recommend her to other people that have a hearing problem to come here. She's so good. She's so good. That's all I can say.
That's a tearjerker moment when someone says that to you. And you know you've opened up that world. I don't take credit for it. I just thank God for giving me that skill and that ability and just the love of making people happy.
And to say that this mother-daughter duo is happy, well, that would be an understatement.
My daughter, she looked at me, man. She said, "You're going to be on a whole different kind of level, Mom." And I was like, yeah, man.
A whole new level of living, thanks to this doctor's talent in listening.
And to find out more about HearSay Services of Delaware, visit our website, DelmarvaLife.com. Make sure you click on What's Happening Today.
Because you never know what you might be missing.
Exactly.
Yeah.